Welcome to the Geek Homeworld. I am your host, Ed, aka Savage Tech Man. We talk sci-fi, TV, movies, superheroes, and all from a geek perspective. You can find us on Blogger, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're everywhere. Join the Geek Homeworld. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode, a short one, albeit, of the Geek Homeworld podcast. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich, aka Savage Tech Man. And today, I got my laptop fired up here, so if you hear any little background noise, that's my computer there just being loud as it wants to be. But anyhow, wanted to talk real quick. I'm recording this on April 4th, and this will be the last recording from where we're currently living. We are moving to a new space, to a house, so I'm gonna have my own dedicated studio, and so it's gonna take time building that up. I may show some on the YouTube channel, Geek Homeworld, maybe some of the building up process, not sure. But anyway, hopefully it'll give me a better, more creative space to work in than what I currently have. So, that's always a good thing. I want to talk about a couple of things. Mainly what I want to talk about on this particular episode is Avengers Endgame. And the tickets went on sale this week. And within 6 hours, the tickets for the pre-sale for Avengers Endgame surpassed The Force Awakens as the record holder for, most pre-sale tickets. Now, we don't have the actual numbers in yet of how many tickets were sold, but do have information that the ticket sales at this point are 50% greater than the record set by Force Awakens. And in the first 6 hours of those pre-sale tickets, they outsold the entire day that Force Awakens had made that record in. So tremendous demand to see Endgame. We're looking at possibly a $300 million opening domestically. Worldwide is projected at this point $800 million, which is phenomenal for an opening weekend. To maybe could be that high, could be a little bit lower, but maybe about 800 million. Who knows? It could go to $1 billion when you add in, all the international and everything worldwide. And that would include the U.S. numbers, of course. But either way, it looks like Avengers Endgame is going to be the biggest opening. The only other thing that could open this big possibly could be Episode 9 for Star Wars, which as of April 4th here is still untitled. I really think this month we're definitely going to get a name for Episode 9. I hope it's a good one. There's been rumors one of them was Skywalkers. That's an absolutely horrible name. I hate it. Who knows? They've already used The Last Jedi, so I don't know. I don't know where we stand on that yet. So it's just anybody's game right here, right now, guessing that, and that'll come. In other news, we have Joaquin Phoenix's take on the Joker called Joker. The trailer came out yesterday, and I tell you, it was very impressive. I thought from the early makeup and everything, I liked the look of this. It's totally different from the other incarnations we've seen. I thought it would be a little bit more silly. It's kind of following, roughly at least, the storyline of The Killing Joke, if you've read that graphic novel, which is highly disturbing and very good, but highly disturbing. Take on the Joker. He's almost homicidal in that one, so it's very dark version of the Joker. But looking at the trailer, which was just beautifully cut for Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, I tell you, it's darker than Heath Ledger's Joker. And it had a level of suspense to the trailer that just really drew me in. And a lot of fans, I think, are really digging it, and I'm one of those, so I'm definitely planning to see that when it comes out. We get a iconic Joker laugh in there, so It just seems, by following the Killing Joke kind of version where he's a failed comedian basically, and that's the right way to go. And how does this fit into the DCEU, which really doesn't exist, the DC Extended Universe or the DC Universe, whatever they want to call it these days? I think it, from what I've heard before, it's not really fitting in. It's kind of like a one-off, but I think it's going to be successful. This is one of the movies that we previewed, and you can check out that episode here at geekhomeworld.libsyn.com on our website there. We're also on iTunes, by the way, Geek Homeworld. And you can check out where we previewed just about 100 movies this year that we're looking forward to here on the podcast, and we're going to be following and all that stuff. So you might want to check that out. Anyway, Joker, I think, is going to fall in line as one of the big movies. And after seeing this trailer, I think it's going to be a big hit. Now, obviously, it won't be as big as Endgame. Endgame is incredible. And some other news that's tied into Endgame, I'm kind of wrapping a few things together here into this short little episode. So we just, I think this week, saw Captain Marvel with the international box office, that's US plus everywhere else, crosses the $1 billion mark at the box office. And we're looking about 323-ish million just domestic box office. And that's good for a film. That's not fantastic Marvel numbers on the domestic side, but the overall $1 billion mark, there's only been so many films that have crossed that, and it's amazing that Captain Marvel did that. I saw it a couple times. Honestly, I liked it the second time, which is weird. First time I saw it in 3D. Nothing wrong with the 3D, but I think I said this on a previous episode. I did enjoy Captain Marvel. I think I was more excited on the preview that we saw it, and then the next time I saw it, I might have actually I might have actually seen it 3 times, come to think of it. But the last time I saw it, it was better. It was good in the 3D, and then the next time I saw it, it was like not so good. I don't know. It's weird. It's just changed how I view the movie. And looking back, it was a good movie. It's not the best Marvel movie out there. It may or may not make my top 10 at the end of the year. There's so many great films coming out this year, so I don't even know. It might make it in there, but I don't know. I don't think it was the best film. I don't think Brie Larson did as good of a job. I just don't think she emotes enough on the screen. She's just kind of there, and I don't know. So I've really got kind of mixed reviews in hindsight now about Captain Marvel. It wasn't the best Marvel movie. It's not as good as, say, Black Panther, or the best movie that Marvel's done to date, which is Infinity War. And it's not as good as Civil War. I don't know. I don't know where it falls, but I put it down towards the lower echelon of Marvel films. So, but I know how an important movie it is in setting up Endgame and stuff like that. It had that beautiful spot of being put right between Infinity War and After the Snap, and then being a movie that played on a lot of 90s nostalgia, which was pretty cool. And like a lot of that music got a big bump on the charts out of nowhere that was featured in the film. So I guess good for those artists that made that music. But, it's stuck between Infinity War and Endgame, and you couldn't ask to be in a better position. So to have busted that 1 billion mark worldwide is pretty doggone important. Just looking at the box office now, I have still, as of this moment, not seen Us. I'm one of the few that didn't. And now it came screaming out of the debut there with like 70 million. As of today, 12 days in, roughly, it's about 134 million, which it's comparing it to Get Out's 84 million at this point. It's obviously Jordan Peele's biggest success by far. It's a good film. I may actually review it later when I get to see it. Unfortunately, all my friends and our schedules didn't line up, so they all saw it at different times, and they got to see it and loved it. And and some liked it, some thought it was really good, and I still want to see it, so I'm going to use my AMC and go A-list and see that. And now Dumbo came out this past weekend, and it did a little bit below expectations, but it did okay. But I don't really have a need to see Dumbo, but Disney's redoing all of their films. Aladdin's coming up with Will Smith, and we'll see exactly how that ends up and how people respond to that film. I'm going to go in with an open mind. I think that's what these days you have to do, and with all the people trolling and all on the internet and all the craziness going on and people liking and disliking stuff, I think it's just important to just keep an open mind when you go in and see films. So Endgame's coming out, looking forward to that. There's a lot of films. Pet Sematary is coming out this week, and I probably won't go see that. But the big film coming out tomorrow, or actually there's some showings tonight, is Shazam. And it's gotten a certified fresh from Rotten Tomatoes. It looks fun. It's looked fun since I saw the trailers. And I think DC is kind of finding their footing there. Like Aquaman was, it made it past $1 billion, and roughly about 334 million so far in about 84 days of release. So it's topped about what Batman v Superman did, and at this point. And so what they did, DC, is just, instead of trying to bring everybody under one cohesive vision like Marvel does so well, and they weave their stories so perfectly, DC's just taken each hero out of respect for their universe and their movie. And Aquaman, it worked. It was not a great movie, but visually, the cinematography was astounding on it. It was really a beautiful film, and I can see why it did really well at the box office. Shazam is following in its own kind of way. It's kind of a, probably geared at a younger audience, and I'm going to see it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to probably say it's a fun film. It's got a lot of Easter eggs in it. That's fine. But I think that's where we go at DC now, and then Joker's been successful. We saw Spider-Man. Spider-Man is actually in Marvel now, so. But, we're seeing these different films, and so this is the way DC, I think, is going to go forward. And they can build up to maybe a Justice League 2, which I know they're going to work very hard to make successful. So they'll have to bring in the different elements and somehow meld those brighter versions of stuff into that. April 12th coming out, the big release is Hellboy, a reboot. I don't really care for it. I didn't ask for it. Trailers look okay. It may do well. It may do really well. I don't know. I just don't really care. There's some other stuff coming, and obviously around the 25th, 26th, we're going to see Avengers Endgame. That's the next big thing, and it's just breaking all kinds of records for pre-sales. In fact, I just saw on the internet that there's been at least one instance, which this is ridiculous, but people have been buying up tickets, some people, and they've been reselling them on eBay for opening weekend, opening night, whatever. And somebody in New Jersey I saw paid $15,000 for a ticket. And I'm like, no movie is worth $15,000, especially when it's going to be playing on 4,000-ish plus screens, and it's going to be everywhere. But a solid 3 hours in, I think, 3 minutes, something like that, but definitely a solid 3 hours. I don't know how I'm going to get through that film, Avengers Endgame, without a restroom break at some point. So hopefully they'll figure out an intermission in there, but I don't know. It's going to be difficult. But people scalping the tickets, I think that's a terrible thing. I just think that's just a terrible, terrible thing. I mean, why would people do that? I know why they do it, just to make a buck, but and all the hysteria around Endgame, it's going to probably see the end of some of our favorite Avengers. We're speculating. Everybody's been speculating since Infinity War, since that snap, heard around the world. And I don't know how they can top Infinity War. I really hope that Endgame does top it. And, I hope it's so doggone good that what the Russo brothers have brought together in just a culmination of 10 almost plus years, and what at this point, like 22 films roughly in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just, this may be the end of the best run of Marvel, and hopefully it's going to be leading to even more powerful heroes. But I don't know if you can replace the charisma of Chris Evans as Captain America, and certainly Robert Downey Jr., who has been the spinal column, if you want to say it. We couldn't exist without him, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he may pop in or out, or who knows, maybe he will go down, and Thor, Chris Hemsworth, maybe they'll all bite the bullet, as it were, and defeat Thanos and whatever else. But it's going to be an incredible film, Endgame, but it's going to be sad also. Chris Evans said that there's 3 different times he saw it, and he broke down a little bit. So they're going to bring the drama on this one. It's going to be interesting to see how the film turns out. So anyway, not much else on this episode. I just wanted to talk about those few things and get in my last episode here. Welcome to April. I'm coming right up on my birthday, so I'm excited, and moving into a new place, and the chance to get my studio together. So I'm super excited about that. So hopefully more to come on that, and hopefully in this year I'll get to do more visually and more on the Geek Homeworld YouTube channel, and be able to work up to some live chats and stuff like that. We'll see. Got some ideas, and so working on some things in different ways to improve the podcast and all that. So if you want to hear the latest in the film community and stuff like that, I do host a radio show. It's called Savannah on Film, and it's on 107.5 FM in Savannah, where we are. And but you can listen to it wruu.org. That's wruu.org. And it's Saturdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. East Coast time, whatever. We're on whatever. What are we in? Daylight savings time or whatever? I don't know what we're in. But anyway, so with that being said, yeah, check it out. It's called Savannah on Film. We're on Facebook too. Just like Geek Homeworld, you can go there and like the page if you want. Follow me on Twitter at Savage Techman, also at Geek Homeworld. And check out Savannah on Film if you'd like. That'd be cool. Anyway, so go out there, go to the theaters. Hopefully you get a good seat, and everybody acts kind as you see Avengers Endgame, and we're certainly going to be talking more about it. There will be episodes about it, no doubt on that. So I'm super excited to see it. I'm trying to keep my level of excitement to a minimum, especially for that and for Star Wars, because I'm so worried about episode 9 at this point. I don't know which way it's going to go, and I hope that they just bring it all back together. I know bringing in George Lucas to consult on the Anakin Skywalker, on which Anakin is possibly going to be in it. There's rumors that Vader's going to be in it. There's rumors that Palpatine is going to make an appearance. I mean, they're going to maybe acknowledge the prequels finally, and they're going to definitely close out the Skywalker saga, which it's time at this point, because it's really not much more you can do with it, with the main characters passed on in film or in real life, like Carrie Fisher. So, I just hope that they somehow wrap it up nicely and really do a service to us long-term hardcore fans that were there from the beginning, and they didn't just come up with the prequels. I like the prequels. And I actually rewatched Solo the other day, and it wasn't as bad, but it's growing on me a little bit. But still, I think it just had the unfortunate situation to come out after the fallout from The Last Jedi and the death of Luke Skywalker that nobody really wanted or asked for at all. And what Rian Johnson did to that film, beautiful film, The Last Jedi, beautifully shot, but just, I don't know, so many issues. And there's plenty of episodes about this that we've talked about, that I've talked about, and there'll be more to talk about. So looking forward to episode 9 at the end of this 2019, going into 2020, and hopefully, I'll say it's one of the greatest films. I'll be hopefully in the situation around the end of 2019 or definitely by 2020 when I'm recapping this year. And hopefully I'm saying, gosh, was Endgame or Episode 9 the best film ever? You know, it's kind of, you know, who knows, you know. But I don't think Endgame is going to disappoint. I think it's going to be phenomenal, and the hype is so much up there. It's just going to be amazing. I just don't know. There's never been probably a more successful, maybe other than Star Wars or maybe Lord of the Rings, but definitely Star Wars would probably be the closest thing. May still be more profitable, but, you know, the Marvel Universe is still going strong, and the talk of superhero fatigue, there is some of that, I believe, but with Fox being acquired by Disney, and Marvel is part of that, so, you know, they'll be able to bring in much more interesting characters. I'm predicting that Galactus is going to show up in like the end credits, and that will totally blow my mind as long as he's not a cloud like in the original Fantastic Four Silver Surfer movie. But even if the Silver Surfer shows up or something like that, it would just be awesome. I don't know. I just feel like they're going to somehow defeat Thanos or nullify him in some way or whatever, or go back and fix everything from the snap in Infinity War. But then the greater threat, you know, we know the externals are coming, so maybe that'll be one of the big reveals. Possibly Adam Warlock coming in, teased at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and James Gunn's back on board with his script for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so we're looking at maybe 2021 to 2023, because it's pushed everything back tremendously, and, you know, before we get our third Guardians film. But there's a lot going on at the box office, so super excited. It's a good time to be a geek. And anyway, gotta run, but thanks for listening to another episode of Geek Homeworld with your host, myself, Ed Ciucevich, aka Savage Tech Man. Check us out, follow us, let us know your comments, and thank you everyone for listening, and have a great day. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Geek Homeworld with your host, Savage Tech Man. You can find us on Libsyn, Google+, follow and interact with us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, listen to us on iTunes and leave a review, subscribe to us on YouTube, read our thoughts on Blogger. See you again on the Geek Homeworld.